In a recent survey, readers were asked to name the best U.S. city for Italian restaurants. The results are below. Let A denote the set of cities that are considered to have the best restaurants by more than 10% of the respondents. Let B be the set of cities that were voted the best by between 10 and 20% of the respondents. Let C denote the cities that were voted best by fewer than 10% of the respondents. Find the following sets. So what they want you to just basically do is list the cities that fall into these various sets. So take a moment, answer the questions regarding these, and then we'll get back to it. All right. So, as you went through this, I mean, they defined what these were. So, and as you look at this more carefully, you could see that, there was 100 in here, so these are actually percentages as well. So, there was 100 people asked. So when the 42 of the respondents asked, these are the percentages. It also says percentages as well. So, so set A would be, because they were looking for those who had more than 10% of the respondents. So New York, Pittsburgh, Chicago, and Boston were those based on that list. Those that fell in that category. Between 10 and 20%, well, that's basically Pittsburgh, Chicago, and Boston. So basically, we have some members of Set B that are also in Set A, but not all members of Set A are in Set B. And then you have Set C, which denote the cities that were voted best by fewer than 10% of the respondents. And so fewer than 10 was Las Vegas, San Francisco, and New Jersey. So now we want to come up with this, and we answered question A already because we had to do that in order to define these sets, and the set was just defined. Now I'm looking for, in B, the union of A and B. Well, the union of A and B are basically, everything that's in set A, set B, or both. Basically, if you look at it, it's basically just set A again, because set A is set B with New York City added to it. So that's really all there is. So New York, Pittsburgh, Chicago, and Boston would be that. So that's what we mean by sometimes you'll have, some sets that, they may have more symbols to them, but ends up being a simple set. So A union B happens to equal A here because they would be the same thing. Now I'm looking at the union of A and C, but I'm looking for the complement of that. So anything that's not in the union of A and C. Well, there's 7 cities in this list here. Between A and C, it takes up all 7 of them. So if I'm looking for anything not amongst, any member that's not in those set of 7 cities, well, there aren't any. So that's the empty set. There are no cities from this list that will fall into that category. For D, first we're looking for the complement of A and B. So I'm looking for anything that's not in both A and B. So right now, that's just New York City. So I'll make a little note down here. So right now, this part right here is just New York. And anything not in C. So basically, and if I'm going through this, so these are out. Now I also want to make sure that, nothing from C is concluded. So these are out. So really the only one that I'm going to have here is New York. And that's what the answer is. Just a set of New York City. So a 1-member set.